Well, good Saturday morning to everybody out there in internet land. My name is Brian Trippett. I am the Front Porch Conservative, and welcome to Front Porch Brunch, a little weekend gathering that we do here on the internet, talking about the news, giving our views, and letting everybody know exactly what we think about everything. Not just me, but for you too, because frankly, let's be honest about it. You've been reading these headlines, you've been seeing the news, you've been seeing stuff on social media, and you're like, I gotta go talk about it. Well, step on up to the electronic front porch, my friend, and we'll pull out a chair for you and let you sit down, and you can just talk away all you want to. We are on Rumble, we are on Twitter, and we are on that quaint little social media platform known as YouTube. So please, if you are not a subscriber to my channel, please go ahead and subscribe to me on Rumble and on YouTube. And by the way, all you good folks out there on YouTube, make sure you are constantly checking your subscriptions because, let's be honest, the folks at YouTube do tend to like to play malicious little games. Yes, I said malicious. Weez is just a hard-working brother trying to get up the mountain, and they take away my subs. I don't need that. I don't like that. So check your subscriptions. Make sure you're subscribed. Also, leave some comments on the live stream. Hit the thumbs up. Those two things tend to make Mr. Algorithm very happy. He tends to like to promote my channel more often when you do that kind of thing. So any help you can give me in those regards are greatly appreciated. Again, my name is Brian Trippett. I am the Front Porch Conservative. I am sometimes known as the wise guy in the wide brim. I am occasionally called the common man with common sense, but I am above all else referred to by one very important word title: your host. Again, we are on Rumble, we are on Twitter, and we are on YouTube. So please subscribe to my channel on both Rumble and YouTube. It would be greatly appreciated. We got a really good show lined up for you guys this morning. Lots of stuff to talk about. Going to have a lot of fun doing it. Glad you guys are here. Going to be a good time for everybody. Oh my goodness. Welcome to the weekend. Woot, 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 woot. So yeah, you have made it. You have slaved away from Blue Monday to thank God it's Friday, and now it is Saturday morning. You can sit back, relax. Hopefully you can relax. Hopefully this hour of the day gives you the opportunity to, decompress, unwind, sip that cup of coffee or something stronger if you're in such a mood, and you can actually realize, I've made it. Anyway, glad to have you guys here this morning. Let's see who all is in the house this morning. Yes, we are back up to 950. Woot woot. So hopefully higher and further and faster. So thank you very much for noticing. And by the way, young lady, good morning to you. Oh, let's see. By the way, don't be no strangers. Y'all start chatting it up. Let me see who's in the house so far. Let's see who's over on Rumble. The Wingnuts have not arrived yet, but that's okay. I know them. They'll get on in here at some point. Good to have you guys here with us this morning. Where I am in the world, as you can tell if you look out my window over here, lots of sunshine, lots of blue sky at this point, and we are looking toward a good Saturday, the kind of Saturday that's nice, relaxed, get out in your yard, do a little work, blow some leaves, just a nice, chill Saturday. Hello, sea bass. How you doing, brother? Greetings, humanlings and earthoids. Okay. I want to check your intergalactic green card, dude, because you're going to start talking like that, and I'm going to wonder, does this alien really know how to speak the language? I'm just saying. Oh, my goodness. All right. So good to have you guys here this morning. I have got a blue slew of tabs across the top of this other screen over here. Whoo! We're going to be here for a while, kids. I'm just telling you that much right now. But you're going to have fun. It's going to be informative. I want to thank people who have contributed both memes and story ideas and links and different stuff. And I get them all the time. I get them by email. The unofficially official economist of the electronic front porch sent me something the other day. So a shout out to Dr. Robin McCutcheon. Thank you very much for sending me that over. And I will do my best to point out during the show, the one that you sent in. Gypsy sent me some memes. We got some of those lined up. So yeah, I mean, anytime you guys find something you think's interesting or you guys want to talk about it, by all means, tag me on Twitter. Whatever it may be, just shoot it at me, and we will absolutely talk about it. And here's somebody I'm glad showed up. Good morning, Robert Lowry. Good to have you here, sir. Always good to have you on the electronic front porch. Okay, so let's get down to business. We have a P. Diddy update, a couple of them actually. And it turns out that Sean Diddy Combs got some good news this week. Folks, this whole case against him may be completely up in smoke. All right. The piece of good news that makes me say that is an eyewitness has come forward that will absolutely vindicate Sean P. Diddy Combs such that this guy's going to walk. And I tell you what, when I found out who the eyewitness was, I got to tell you, impeccable. I mean, they can absolutely verify what did and did not happen there. Stevie Wonder has come forward, ladies and gentlemen, to announce he didn't see anything illegal. I mean, look, the veracity of this man, his ability to tell you exactly what went down. When Stevie Wonder tells you he didn't see anything illegal, I'm telling you right now, Sean P. Diddy Combs is going to walk. Is absolute no, not quite as good as a Kamala get out of jail free card. But listen, when Stevie Wonder says he didn't see anything, take it to the bank. So I'm telling you right now, that was the best piece of legal news that Sean P. Diddy Combs could have got this week. Just saying. Now, laying aside the good legal news that that Diddy got this week, as I have mentioned on occasion, even in his jail cell, Sean P. Diddy Combs is acting out the role of the media mogul. He's trying to work on deals. He's trying to work on endorsements. He's trying to work on, ideas for television, for movies. Like I said, he's been in contact with DC Comics about this idea of, Batman versus the Diddler, that and different television and movie ideas. And he's actually come up with a new one. Apparently his lawyers have been to see him at the New York City jail facility where he's being held, and they've now come up with a new idea for a show. But folks, as with all of these ideas, I'm not so sure how well this one's going to be received. But apparently he's got an idea for Diddy the Booty Hunter. I don't know, guys. I don't know about you, but that's just, I mean, honestly, I think it's good in concept. I just don't know how well this one's going to be received. I mean, I don't know. But, crazier things have happened. Maybe Sean Diddy Combs makes this idea work, So like I say, even though he's in jail, he's still thinking about his future career in media. So, I will give Diddy this. I'll give him this much. The guy is working it. Oh, yeah, he's working it. Anyway. So that's our Sean P. Diddy Combs update. I found this next meme on Twitter. Gee, there's a shock. But it comes from Owen Schroyer, and it asks a very interesting question before you see the meme. Not really ask a question, but it has a caption above it that goes something like this. It's like, leaked video or leaked photo of who is actually running the White House. And you know what? Given some of the really dark stuff that's going on in the United States these days, I can't necessarily disagree with the messaging behind this photo. I will say this about Owen. He's it may be dark, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's wrong. So there you go. A contribution from Owen Schroyer of the InfoWars crowd. Yeah, that's our leader. Hey, you ain't wrong, dude. When we got a Joe Biden update here in a few minutes. When we get into our discussion of that, we're now down to 30 days. My God, can you believe we are 30 days from the election? That blows my mind. We're here. It's go time. Just absolutely incredible to see what happens here. Next 30 days are going to be, kids, if you thought 2024 was something to behold, um, to borrow a line from that old Bachman Turner Overdrive song, you ain't seen nothing yet. But baby, you ain't seen nothing yet. Just saying. Oh, yeah, it is. It is incredible. We are 3 days from destruction. Holy cow. Hope not. Hope not at all. Okay, hang on a minute. Yeah, hold on. Hold on to your, you say butts. I'll just say what you're thinking. Hold on to your arses. Hold on to your arses. That's all I am saying. Wait a minute. What is going on? What is going on with? Okay, all right. Rumble is working. All right, just no one's chat. No one's commenting yet. The Wingnuts men must not be awake yet. That's okay. That's all right. We love the Wingnuts. All right. Yes. Thank you for noticing. I genuinely appreciate that. Yeah, you and Gypsy keep a. Yeah, it looks like you and Gypsy keep quite the eye on my channel as much as I do. But I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And working on some things in the upcoming. Which, by the way, I haven't got the thumbnail set up yet. But please, and I'll start advertising that this weekend. I'll probably work on this thumbnail and start my advertising efforts this afternoon. But keep in mind, this coming Tuesday night, my good buddy, the High Harlot, Mike Harlow, is coming back on the channel. He'll be here 7 o'clock Eastern this Tuesday night. And, you know, when it comes to Mike, you never know what we're going to talk about. We might be talking about, well, politics. We'll be talking about horror movies, the spooky season. And I haven't really had a chance to ask him, since he moved down to the Free Republic of Florida, you know, what is it like? Oh, I mean, I know what Florida is like, but I mean, for him personally, I mean, this is a kid, and I say kid, of course, everybody younger than me is a kid. This is a kid that grew up in New York City all of his life. And, you know, all the things that go along with New York culture. And now, you know, he's living down in Florida, and I'm really curious what he's found to be good and bad about the transition from New York City down to Florida. You know, so yeah, Mike's going to be here Tuesday night. So by all means, please put it on your calendars and check it out because, you know, like I say, Harlow is hysterical. And I would say that no matter what. I mean, Mike is one of the most genuine human beings on God's earth. And by the way, Mike, if you're listening to this, I love you, but you know what I'm about to say is true. Do not give this man a crap pile of money. Do not give this guy a crap pile of money and send him into a poker game expecting you're going to come out with more than you sent him in with, because I love Mike to death, but he has no poker face whatsoever. No, none whatsoever. So, you know, well, okay, yeah, you're right. You're right. I should have probably phrased that a little differently. Yeah. It's yeah. Oh God, I've always said I've got the smartest audience on the internet, and you guys prove it every time. Yeah. So by all means, 7 o'clock this Tuesday night, and you know, let's get together, let's hang out. Now, these next set of memes, I have to thank Gypsy for, and some of now, you know, you'll come to the electronic front porch and you get all kinds of information. Some of it cultural, some of it political, and sometimes we even get into medical related issues. Oh, I know the guys the censors at YouTube are like, get ready, hit the button. He's talking about medical stuff. YouTube, don't freak out. This is part of this is a setup for a joke, so don't freak out. You get medical information. Now, no doubt, all of you out there, regardless, at one time or another, you've had different kinds of headaches, and some of them affect different parts of of your cranial area. You know, and you're like, oh, why am I getting this? What is you know, what's happening? Why is this particular headache? Well, Gypsy was gracious enough to put together a chart which kind of explains not just the various types of headaches that one can have, but what part of your cranial area it will affect the most. And with that, we have this very handy chart. I mean, look, a migraine affects one side of the brain. A tension headache is obviously above the forehead. The sinus area, stress headaches on the back. And then if you're listening to Kamala Harris, well, that's just an all-over headache, okay? My goodness, indeed. My goodness, indeed. So now, ladies and gentlemen, not only are you better informed, you also understand the potential cause of your headache. And like I say, my advice to all of you out there, if given the chance to not listen to Kamala Harris, I would recommend it if for no other reason than to avoid an all over your skull headache. Just saying. So never let it be said that we here on the Electronic Front Porch did not look out for your health and well-being. So there you go. Now, this next meme falls in the area of understanding the use of the English language. I'm just going to put this up here and let it speak for itself. Yeah, there you go. Kind of reminds me of the two guys who were standing around, and one of them said, I'm really ambivalent about this whole situation. The other person says, yeah, I really don't care. What do TBH and IDK mean? To be honest, I don't know. Then why did you comment? Well, look, sometimes when your friends say something to you, you just gotta go with it. This is one of those go with it moments, apparently. So there you go, folks. Medical information and improvement upon your understanding of the English language and its current usage in the 21st century. See, we do it all for you here on the Electronic Front Porch. What can I tell you? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Now, oh yeah, these last ones are cute. These last ones are really cute. She makes your pancreas hurt. Yeah. Well, thank you. Well, thank you for the Thank you for the compliment. I appreciate that. Who's on first? Yes. What? No, he's on second. Now, these next memes are really kind of cute. And they will kind of lead into our first, well, they'll lead into some of our stories for the morning. In one election cycle, we say the following: believe all women. And in a half a breath later, women don't exist. There you go. So let that be that. Now, in relation to the election, some people make the argument that, to vote for certain candidates, you really have to turn off your brain. Well, let me tell you something. The people who are voting for Kamala Harris have found a completely different use for their brain. And not only have they found a use for it, strangely enough, they're even talking to their brains. I know, it's kind of weird. But yeah, here's what that conversation looks like. So they're just telling their brains, hey, take a walk. I'm voting for Harris. Yeah, buddy. Gypsy, these are good memes. These really are. These are cute. I like these. These are a lot of fun. Yeah, I love this one. This is really funny. Yeah, I thought so too. Now this is really Rosa DeLauro has got 500 people out knocking door to door in the inner cities. God, I'd give a lot to see some polling out of Connecticut right now. I really would. Because like where was that earlier comment you made? Hang on a minute. I think the Dems are worried up here. Tons of ad. The DNC chairs doing. Now that is unusual for Connecticut, and young lady, your area better than I do because you live up there. But from an outsider's perspective, if this and I'm not saying it's not, by the way, so let me be very clear about what I'm trying to say here. If this and this other thing with Laura DeRosa is going on right now, that tells me something's cooking. I don't know what's going to happen on election day up in your state, but something is definitely cooking. So let's see, that's like $1,000 she's paying out just to have people go knocking door to door for her. Daggone, that's something interesting. Very interesting. So yeah, I agree with you. I think something's cooking up in your state. And from my heart to yours, may the people of Connecticut, may this be a step in the right direction toward returning your state to varying forms of sanity. Just saying. All right, one last meme, and this one's going to apply to a little later on. FEMA has been renamed to the agency that funnels emergency money to aliens. And folks, after the news we've gotten in the past few days, that one ain't wrong. And so very, very accurate. Very, very accurate indeed. All right. And by the way, there are going to be some more memes as we go throughout the show. And just wanted to try to give a little funny in the morning first thing. So now let us move on to some news. 30 days, ladies and gentlemen. We are down to 30 days. And old horse handicappers like me, man, this is when we start rubbing our hands together and go, fun's about to start. I say fun, but then again, the way the Democrats campaign anymore, I'm not so sure how much fun I have anymore. It's kind of like, oh God, when's the next disaster drop? So where are we at with 30 days to go? Well, here you go. I'm just going to do a quick run through these. Real Clear Politics average of polls. National polls, Trump versus Harris. By the aggregate of polls, she has a lead of 2.2%. Now, I want to bring up something for the sake of perspective. Kamala Harris has buku amounts of money at her disposal. Kamala Harris has surrogates all over the country. She's got allies in the mainstream media. She's got every advantage conceivably you could give this woman. And by the way, I am not saying that she might not win on election night. I know. Given how exceedingly moronic this woman is, it pains me to let those words come off of my lips and tongue. Okay? But she could win. But for all of her money and all of her advantages and all of her allies in the media and all of her everything else, let me point out something that you ought to keep in mind going forward. At least on this day. Yes, she has a lead of 2.2%. But on this same day 4 years ago, Biden was doing about 6% better. And 8 years ago, Hillary Clinton was doing almost 2% better. Okay. Oh, dear. I saw this. We're going to get to that. Don't worry. I got you covered. I got you covered on this one, dear. Okay, so Poso's on site already up at Butler. Yep, good boy. Good boy. All right. Oh, now, yeah, and this Robert is why I say that she could win. Because there ain't no way in the world. And the way you say this is beautiful and correct. There's no rational way she can win. This woman, Kamala Harris, is dumber than a box of rocks. I'm sorry. She hasn't got the good sense to know how to pour piss out of a boot, if I may use a local expression here in my area. She is. She's an airhead. She's a California airhead. Normally, if someone acted as dumb as she does, I would assume she was blonde. No offense to you ladies out there who are blonde, but I'm just saying the stereotypical airhead is a California blonde. Okay, she acts like a California blonde. Okay, and there goes any potential dates I have in the near future. You know. Anyway, but you get my point. There's no rational way this woman should win. She's dumber than a box of rocks. She repulses people. The longer they listen to her, they're like, oh my God, this one's an idiot. There's no rational way she should win. But let's be honest, the Democrats are magnificent when it comes to cheating. Hence, make it too big to rig. Get your mothers, your brothers, your lovers, your sisters, and your misters out there and get them to vote. Swamp it. Just swamp this thing. Because as Rich Barris, the People's Pundit, has wisely pointed out, if we get 10 to 15% of these people who don't vote regularly but want to vote for Trump, we get them to the polls, ain't no stopping him. Oh, I believe this. I believe that. I tell you what, and I'm not saying this to be condescending or anything else, but y'all, bless your hearts, you all are on occupied territory up there in Michigan. You got some state leadership up there that they need to go. In the next election in 24, they need to go. Whew. Yeah, this one, if it were any other group of officials in Michigan other than these three, I wouldn't worry about Michigan quite so much. Oh, we're definitely entering uncharted territory, my friend. Definitely. Absolutely we are. Oh, mercy. But yeah, this is definitely where we're at right now. Now, a little bit further information. So that's the national. And like I said, keep in mind, right now, year-over-year comparison, she's doing 6 points worse than Joe Biden and about 2 points worse than Clinton. And I say that for a particular reason. If the pollsters, and when I say the pollsters, I mean these some of these nationally recognized folks, if they wind up missing on this election the same way they did in 16 and the same way they did in 20, then it's theoretically possible Donald Trump could win the national popular vote. And that the last time that happened for a Republican was 2004 when W beat John Kerry. Again, I'm not saying what will happen. I'm just saying it's theoretically possible. All right. Quick rundown of the battleground states. Arizona, Trump with a 1.4% lead in the average of the polls. Arizona looking real good, by the way. Georgia, Trump with a 1.5 lead. Here's the trouble spot, Michigan. But even then, yeah, the three witches might be doing everything they can, but even still, Trump's got a lead. Well, I should say, Harris has a lead, but it's the slimmest of leads, like less than 1% in the average. In Nevada, Harris with like a barely a lead, 1.1%. North Carolina, which is on everybody's mind for various reasons right now, Trump with barely a lead. Pennsylvania, they're flat out tied. And by the way, Donald Trump's going back to Butler, Pennsylvania today, and we've got some information about that a little later on in the live stream. And one last one, and this to me is my sleeper. Virginia, 4.8%. Virginia, I don't know. I don't think Trump's going to win it, but I'll tell you what, it would not surprise me if it's very close. Yeah, and this is going to be the trick for them. If they, the Democrats, can get this thing close enough in the polling that they can make a conceivable argument. Hey, she pulled it out at the end. Would you look at that? Would you look at that? Yeah. But she does have one enormous problem. And I was having a discussion the other night with my good buddy Smiling Jack. And I think I can do this real fast. Give me 1 second here, folks. Good morning, my love. How are you? Yeah, I don't think Virginia will go for Trump on election night, but there's just something making me feel mildly optimistic. I'm getting reports. And again, Northern Virginia might wind up swapping everything else. All those government workers and retired government workers might come out for Kamala Harris and just swamp the vote for everything else in the state. But then again, if Virginia did go for Trump, I wouldn't be shocked. And frankly, hey, you got 30 days to go, brother. You may as well take a shot at it. You got nothing to lose. Let me do something real fast. For you guys, and this will take me just a second. I did not have this set up, but it will only take me just a moment to get this thing put together for y'all, because I love playing with these kind of scenarios. I really do. Give me 1 minute here. And just about got it. Hang on 1 second. Okay. There's that. Now, give me 1 moment. Oops. Forgot a couple of them. Okay, now I can do the rest. One moment. I'll be right with you guys. Okay, I think that about covers it. Oh, forgot about this one too. Okay. All right, I want to put something up on the screen for you guys. Good morning, my dear. Good morning. Glad to see you. By the way, I'm going to be on Tracy's channel Wednesday night at 6 o'clock. We're going to be doing a discussion of the origins of the conflict between Israel and the Palestinians. So check that out. Come over to her channel. Same reason. Food for thought. Maybe the reason blue states are blue. Oh, hang on. My eyes are starting to hurt me. There we go. The same reason as 16. Food for thought. Could be. Could be. Oh, yeah. I saw that thing too. Ugh. All right. I want to put this up here. There is a website. It's www.yapms.com. And you can literally go in and do simulations here. Okay. Now, I want to show you guys some stuff just for the sake of argument. Okay. So Trump is leading in Georgia, Arizona, and North Carolina. Okay. And for the sake of argument, let's say that Kamala gets Virginia. All right. Okay. Her path to victory goes like this. She has to win. All three of the wise men, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and take Nebraska too. All right. Trump, on the other hand, has multiple paths to victory. And let me back this out and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So let's just assume for a moment, take these out. Okay. Yeah. All right. These are the 6. These are considered the 6 battlegrounds. Okay. Assume for a moment that Trump takes Georgia and he takes Arizona. Okay. Assume he takes North Carolina. Watch this. If he takes North Carolina, Georgia, and Arizona, and let's just say he takes Wisconsin, guess what? Trump's president. Let's say, for the sake of argument, that Trump takes Pennsylvania. Guess what? He's still president. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, Trump takes Michigan and loses the other 2. Guess what? He's still president. Now, let's just play around with this for a little bit, just for the sake of argument. 7 battleground states. All right. Let's say Trump takes North Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, Nevada. Doesn't get any one of the 3 wise men. Guess what? She wins. All Trump needs is one of these guys. Or some combination. This is going to get real interesting real fast. Oh, yeah. Yep. The Republicans out in Nebraska just ought to be just pilloried for what they didn't do. Absolutely pilloried. Oh, and you really, okay, you're there on the ground. You think it's going for Trump. You really do. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just, look, you're there. You ought to know. I mean, if you got, and by the way, if you guys have information, stories about your respective states, drop them in chat. And not just today, but anytime between now and the election. I'd like to hear them. I mean, look, guys like Rich Barris and Mark Towery and Robert Cahaley and all those fancy Mark Mitchell at Rasmussen, they're pollsters. They are, they know their stuff. Me, I do it anecdotally. What do you know? What do you hear? What are you seeing? What are you feeling on the ground? That's what I'm asking people. So if you got stories about what's going on in your respective states or things you hear about, hey, pass them on. Let's share with each other. Does it necessarily mean that's how it's going to turn out on election day? No. But I think if nothing else, we need to share what we know. So by all means, if between now and the election, in the next 30 days, whenever we're doing a live stream or whatever, if you get a report about something or you got something, pass it on and share it. We'll put it up here on the screen, let people talk about what they think it means, and we go from there. Yeah, here's why what they did out in Nebraska just makes you mad. If Trump got Nebraska too, he could then lose Pennsylvania, and the House would. Now, this is how crazy this thing conceivably could get. That's what just makes me so mad about what they did out in Nebraska, or I should say didn't do in this case. So there you go. So that's where we are with the election, or at least the numbers part of it anyway. Now, from the perspective of the Republicans, here's the information they're putting out at this point. From the RNC chairman, Michael Whatley, they said their internals have Trump leading in Arizona outside the margin of error, leading in Pennsylvania, Georgia, Nevada, and North Carolina. Michigan, Wisconsin, and Minnesota are virtual ties. And here's what the map would look like under those circumstances. Okay. Trump would have, with what he's leading in, and Arizona, which is, according to them, outside their margin of error, he'd be sitting on 287. These three would be, nobody knows what's going to happen. So if that polling is correct, and that's what actually happens on election day, Trump's got the presidency. Now again, I take what he's saying with a grain of salt. Okay, he's the chairman of the National Republican Party. If he said anything other than this, I'd be shocked. Okay. Oh, I agree with you, Tracy. It would be hysterical if Donald Trump took Minnesota. Absolutely hysterical. And yeah, Leanne, I agree with you completely. Northern Virginia is my worry. Well, okay, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I'd say, yeah, I agree with you on this, Seabass. We haven't seen the October surprise yet, which I know it just sounds awful to say, because when you think about everything that's happened just in the first week of October, I am scared to ask the question, what could happen yet? Because that's just an invitation to it. But I think you're right. I think that that we haven't seen it yet. I don't know what it is, but we haven't seen it yet. So we'll see. All right. Now, that's the Republican perspective. Now, I believe that, yes, it was up in Connecticut who asked me the question. Had I seen Kamala Harris' latest teleprompter disaster? Well, I have seen it, but if you haven't, you've got to watch this. This woman absolutely cannot speak extemporaneously. And if you don't believe me, watch this.
Remember his number, 32.
She's talking about Magic Johnson, who had just spoken in Flint, Michigan, before she took the podium. So this is a rally in Flint, Michigan. Okay. She's up there talking, hey, remember number 32, Magic Johnson? That's how many days we got to the election. Now watch this.
Today we got 32 days until the election.
Okay, now right here, look at the look on her face. She knows the teleprompter's down. Okay, now watch what happens next.
So 32 days. 32 days. Okay, we got some business to do. All right. 32 days. And we know we will do it. And this is going to be a very tight race until the very end. This is going to be a very tight race until the very end. We are the underdog, and we know we have some hard work ahead.
Okay, now I have a question. And this question is not necessarily original to me, but I was watching Lionel this morning, getting ready for the show. And I have a question. Why are you telling people you're the underdog? Now, maybe you're doing it as a motivational ploy to try to get people out there working harder for you, okay? Because let's be honest. Everybody loves a good underdog story. But why are you admitting to that? Aren't you sort of consciously admitting that you're losing? I'm just asking. I think that's a fair question. Yep. I absolutely get it. I'm sorry. But you know what? I just, for lefties out, because, look, I know they'll never admit to it. All right. I know they will never admit to it. But there are liberals who watch this live stream. May not be a lot of them, but you do. That's okay. You don't have to admit it. I understand. But let me ask you lefties out there a question. Seriously, you really want to go vote for that? She is that bad, y'all. Now, don't get me wrong. I have seen politicians kind of work their way through a teleprompter snafu. Okay, you have too. We all have. But I've never seen one that got so lost she has no idea what to say. I mean, seriously, this woman is she is a blithering idiot. The Wingnuts are here this morning, and good morning, gentlemen. WWG1 says, good evening, all. I mean, afternoon. Well, good morning, or whatever the hell it is. WWG1, welcome. TBA is here, says, hi, Fedora Nation. I am distracted, so we'll need to watch when I get undistracted. You know what, brother? You do exactly what you need to do. We love you. We're glad you're here. And I'm about to say something serious, and a serious compliment to you and WWG1 and Zippy and all you wingnuts over there. Hey, everything you guys bring to the show, be it laughs or comments or whatever else, it's always appreciated. So if you got something you got to go do, you do it. Do it in an undistracted manner. So love you. So do what you got to do. A hat tip. Oh, goodness. This woman cannot talk. She's awful. She's just awful. And look, if your ideology somehow justifies you voting for her, okay, I think you're making a bad decision. But can you honestly watch that and say to yourself, yep, I feel really good about my choice for president? If you can, we so need to have a talk. I love you. I love you. Oh, I know. I mean, Biden was scary enough, because you send him over to the G7 and you're kind of like, oh God, what's he gonna do? Her, I'd be like this. I'd be like, oh God, I can't look. That's exactly how I'd be. Yeah. So there you go. All right. What else have we got? Now, there's been a theory that I have been saying now for a while, as it relates to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's campaign. And I got another piece of evidence to back up my theory. Now, the theory, if you're not familiar with it, it goes like this: that Joe Biden is still furious over what Nancy Pelosi, Barack Obama, and Kamala Harris did to get him pushed out of the 2024 presidential race. Okay? That old man is still pissed off. And it's one thing to be pissed off. It's another thing to be doing the things that he's doing. Now, you might be out there wondering, well, Front Porch, what do you mean? What is he doing? The things he's doing. Folks, every time Joe Biden turns around, he's doing stuff that undercuts Kamala's campaign. Because in order for her to pull this off, okay, she has to convince everybody. When I say everybody, I mean voters who don't necessarily pay attention. She has to convince everybody that she had nothing to do with the past 4 years, that she had nothing to do with Joe Biden's policies, that she had nothing to do with helping him accomplish his agenda. She has to convince you that she is the new, fresh voice, okay? That she's the next generation of the Democrat Party, that she is a fresh breath of air, right? But every time Joe Biden turns around, he's doing something that undercuts that argument. Now, yesterday is the latest piece of evidence. If you haven't seen this yet, now, some of y'all out there are going to say, Brian, you are crazy as a loon. Really? All right. The appearance in Pennsylvania on 9/11 when he puts on the MAGA hat. The picture of him walking up the ramp on Air Force One where he's still got the MAGA hat in his right hand, and you can very clearly see him carrying it. Okay? And then you got this little gem. All right? So, and here's the kicker to this one. At the very moment Kamala Harris was going to the podium in Flint, Michigan, Joe Biden, for the first time in his presidency, walks into the White House briefing room to have a conversation with the press. And during that exchange, Joe Biden dropped this little gem.
There have obviously been a number of crises that the country has been facing over the past several days with the hurricane, with the port strike, with the situation in the Middle East. Can you talk about how your vice president, who is running for the presidency, has worked on these crises and what role she has played over the past several days?
Okay, now, first of all, the question is a good one. You got all these various things going on, crises. Can you please explain what your vice president, who's running for president, is doing, in regard to all of this? Now, look at the look on his face. Okay. Now, some people are going to say I'm making too much about this point, but this I don't think I am. That is the face of a man geared up, getting ready to do something. And I don't just mean answer the question. He knows what he's about to do, folks. And if you're wondering what it is he did, listen to this.
Well, I'm in constant contact with her. She's aware we're singing from the same song sheet. She helped pass all the laws that are being employed now.
Did you catch that? Oh yeah, we're singing from the same song sheet, man. She helped pass all the laws that are currently being employed in these situations. Let us continue.
She was a major player in everything we've done.
Major player,
including passage of legislation which we were told we could never pass. And so she's been, and her staff is interlocked with mine in terms of all the things we're doing.
Oh my God, folks! I don't know what else I can give you here. Okay, I don't know what else to give you here. I mean, what else do you need? I'm telling you, he's trying to put what's the modern term the kids use? I use the word shank, but you know what I'm talking about. He's trying to put a knife into her, politically speaking. I got to play that again. That's got to be one of the most incredible undercut jobs I've ever seen. Yeah, really. It's like, hey, did you get all the tire marks across her back? No, you didn't? Oh, okay. Back up the bus and roll it over her again. I'm going to play. This is just incredible. I got to play this again, or at least the part of it where he answers. All right. This sets it up, folks. If you don't believe me, listen very carefully. Listen very carefully to what he says.
She's aware we're singing from the same song sheet. She helped pass all the laws that are being employed now. She was a major player in everything we've done, including passage of legislation which we were told we could never pass. And so she's been, and her staff is interlocked with mine in terms of all the things we're doing.
Folks, I don't know what else to do. We're in total concert. Our staffs are, locked in like this. They're constantly talking to us. We're talking to them. We're singing off the same song sheet. It's like, it's just incredible. Oh, absolutely. He hates her guts. He hates her guts. Really? I did not see this about Anna. Says she's not a Democrat anymore and started her own podcast. I'm sure her days with the Young Turks are numbered. Interesting. Very interesting. I tell you what, I would love. And you know what? I just may do it for grins and giggles. I would love to get Anna Kasparian on this channel for a conversation. And not to, and you guys know me, not to sandbag her at all. I just want to know where she's at, because I'm not ready to say she's about to become, the female version of the Front Porch Conservative. But Anna, every so often these days, is dropping comments that makes me wonder, girl, what's going on in your head? Because you don't sound like yourself anymore. But getting back to Biden, folks, and by the way, if for those of you watching this and aren't regulars on the Electronic Front Porch, if you're watching this Biden clip and you say, come on, that's just one isolated incident. He's not doing that to her. Folks, it wouldn't take me long to put together a whole compilation of things he's done since he dropped out of the race in July that absolutely can back up my theory that he is going out of his way to put the knife in her back. Okay. I going back to Anna real quick. I'm sorry I'm jumping around on topics here, but I see things in chat and you guys have got me really going this morning. Yeah, I think she's still a progressive, but she's definitely reconsidering some things. I think that's a good way of saying it. I think you're right. But Joe is, I've never seen something quite like this. I mean, normally a president, who's on his way out, okay, under normal lame duck circumstances, he's going to go out of his way to try to work with the campaign of his vice president and, try and help them out. Okay. If this is his idea of being in sync with the Harris campaign, oh God, this is awful. This is just plain awful what he's doing. I mean, I am pretty sure at this point that when Joe Biden makes a public appearance somewhere, that, the staffers at the Harris campaign are drinking a few beers to just get ready to brace themselves for it because they don't know what's going to come out of his mouth. And then again, if you're the Harris campaign, what can you do about it? What are you going to do? Shut Joe Biden in a closet for the next 30 days? Well, you can't exactly do that. Well, Democrats have been doing that to Joe for 4 years anyway. They only drag him out when they need him. But still, you get my point. They can't really stop him. They might be able to limit the impact or limit the reach, but that's about all you can do. But Joe's just merrily going along, be like, dit, dit, dit. I mean, it looks like, Anthony Perkins from Psycho in the shower scene. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Folks, I am telling you to the bottom of my soul, I absolutely believe it. Joe Biden is trying to screw Kamala Harris over. He really is. Oh, I agree with that. Aside from saying, thank you, Scott Pressler in Pennsylvania. Yeah, if I were Trump, I'd send out a big old thank you to Joe. When Donald and Melania meet Joe and Jill at the White House for the presidential get-together just before the inauguration, in that private meeting, if I were Donald, I'd be like, and Joe, I just want to thank you so much. Your support was huge. It was beautiful. I couldn't have done it without you. I want to thank you for everything you did to undercut Kamala. Thank you very much. Yeah, exactly. We did it, Joe. We did it. Oh, now this is an interesting theory. Maybe he's trying to prevent them from 25th Amendmenting him. If he says she and he are one, then that would accomplish that. Ooh, that's an interesting thought. That's very interesting indeed. Very interesting. So yeah, you got and now again, there are people watching this live.
I do have a note, and I'm
hey, hush your mouth. I am not ready for you to talk. Just zip it. Zip, dip, 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 dip. Okay. You got to keep that pimp hand strong, folks. Anyway, people are going to watch this live stream. Not necessarily y'all who are regulars to the Electronic Front Porch, but, folks who are visiting for the first time. And they're going to say, oh, come on. You are out of your gourd with this. By the way, no, I'm not. And I'm not the only one that's noticing this. Okay? CNN, listen to this. This will absolutely crack you up.
I do have a note, and I'm curious what you think about this. We were actually about to go live to Vice President Kamala Harris, who's speaking right now in Detroit, Michigan, and apparently she's talking about this port strike ending. She's trying to appeal to union workers, And yet you have the president of the United States come out clearly overshadowing her, answering significant questions. Is that a communications mistake? Is the left hand not talking to the right hand in this situation?
That's a very good point. And if they were coordinated, as you assume they would be, this would not have happened.
I do.
Now, I haven't got much use for Frank Luntz, generally speaking, but Frank's not wrong here. I mean, he's been around this stuff long enough to realize what ought to be happening. What ought to be happening is the Harris campaign is talking to the Biden White House and saying, hey, look, this is kind of the direction where we're going. Could you help us out here and kind of, support our effort on this or this or this? And even if it weren't politics, that would be the normal form of communication inside any organization. You want whatever it is you're trying to get accomplished, you want all parts of your organization kind of working toward the same goal here. Kamala's working for one goal, and Joe's working for another. The Democrats aren't quite sure what goal that Joe's working for. I, on the other hand, am very sure of the goal that Joe's working for, and Joe's goal is to screw over Kamala. Absolutely, he's ready to screw her over every chance he gets. That's a good question. That's a really good question. And I don't know. Or maybe the better way to think of, or at least for me anyway, is does an October surprise really have all the impact that it used to? I think you're absolutely right. Early voting, mail-in voting, the speed of social media, the purpose of an October surprise works from the assumption that everybody's voting on the same day, and you can drop something in October that's going to make everybody's vote on the same day change. But with early voting and social media and everything else, does the October surprise really have what you expect, the impact you expect? I think it's I think it's a great question. I really do. We'll see. And we don't know what this thing is yet. So we'll find out. Barris is of the opinion it's the Trump emails that the Iranians supposedly hacked. We'll see. So yeah, you got Joe out there. You got Joe out there trying to put the knife into Kamala. And now, what's going on in the mind of the voters? I found something yesterday, and I got to give a shout out to Sasha Stone, who, if you're not following her on Substack, you are missing out. Sasha Stone is one of the best writers and commentators coming or going right now. She is extraordinary. You guys know me. If I really love somebody's work, I will absolutely promote them to the hilt. Okay. And for that matter, I'll promote all my friends I come across on social media. And Sasha and I aren't per se friends, but you get my point. Sasha is a fabulous writer. So the other day on social media, on Twitter, she retweeted a tweet from a writer. He's a lifelong Democrat. And Leanne's talking about Northern Virginia and the fact that people are fed up. Up in Connecticut's talking about, the fact that Democrats are scared to death up there. They're doing stuff they normally don't do. Each and every one of you, particularly if you live in a state that's predominantly controlled by Democrats, you're probably seeing some activity this year that you normally don't see. And I think that'd be a fair statement. If you stop to think about it, you're seeing stuff out there and you're like, why is this happening? Well, this tweet that I'm about to read you, and I will put this in chat on both sides, by the way, because if you have not seen this yet, this is something that you're going to want, and I'm going to go ahead and drop it right now while I'm thinking about it. This is something you're going to want to see, and if you have friends, you're probably going to want to share this with them, regardless of their political persuasion, okay? But this is coming from a lifelong Democrat, okay? This is coming from a lifelong Democrat. And this is something. This is from MC Armstrong. He's a writer, he's a professor, he's various different things. A lifelong Democrat. Now listen to this. To the Democrats, this is my career suicide note, but it's also a thank you from someone who is done with careerism. I am a lifelong Democrat of your party, and I'm voting for Donald Trump. Why? It's not just your industrial scale censorship or your endless wars or the fact that you disenfranchised millions of Kennedy voters through lawfare. If that were all I had, it would be sufficient in terms of conscience and rage, but there's more to this story than anger. Your hatred and your censorship has taught me to admire real Donald Trump and to love my fellow working class Americans, and for that, I want to thank you. Goes further into this. This vote is for all the traumatized people who have been canceled and banished just for saying no to the establishment. This vote is for the surveyor, the farmer, the HVAC man, the nurse, the hairstylist, the deadhead, the veteran, and my fellow adjunct professors who have told me their stories about being bullied by the Democrats in their friends and their family and their colleagues at work. This is for the young black woman in my class who last year, on the day Kamala Harris visited our campus, said to me, quote, "You're going to hate me, Dr. Armstrong, but I'm not going. I'm voting for Donald Trump." Why would she think that I hate her for the way she votes? What's happened to our country? Somehow Donald Trump has changed my mind. Where I first saw a cartoon white supremacist, warmonger, and narcissist, I now see the man who renegotiated NAFTA and was the only president in the 21st century to not start a new war. Where I once saw the pal of the neocons, I now see a man who has awoken from his slumber and disavowed Dick Cheney, George Bush, and John Bolton, even as my own party embraces these men. Why has the greatest entrepreneur of my generation, Elon Musk, risked his career to side with Trump? Why has the most consequential grassroots environmentalist of my time, Robert Kennedy Jr., sacrificed friends and family and reputation to side with the Orange Menace? Why has the most courageous peace activist of the 21st century, Tulsi Gabbard, left our party? Because Tulsi, Bobby, and Elon see what I see. Donald Trump is resilient and he's risking his life to change the fate of our nation. Trump is transforming the Republican Party into the party of peace, free speech, and the working class. He has converted George Bush's billionaire boys club of big war, big ag, and big pharma into a party that cares about public health and embraces regenerative agriculture. Now, I don't think the GOP is all the way there yet, but they're clearly the party that embraces dissent, and dissent, brave speech, is the fuel for evolution. So, for the first time in my life, I'm voting Republican. In the name of peace in Ukraine and free speech here at home, I am casting my vote as a Kennedy Democrat for Donald Trump. Like I say, I dropped it in chat on both sides. If you've got friends who are at least willing to listen, you might want to share that with them. Up to you. And I'm not telling you what to do, but if you want to share it with them, there it is. I read that the other day, and by the way, that tweet is part of Sasha Stone's latest column that she's got out on Substack. Go check it out. Go check out her work. Support her in any way you can. She's fabulous. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. She is probably one of the best writers and commentators coming or going. Yeah, I absolutely agree with this, dear. Yeah, there's a lot of men like this who is going against everything they have ever believed. And it's, the change. And I don't know what's going to happen in November. I really don't. I don't know what I'd love to see happen. I got a theory about, I think, what's going to happen, but I don't know with absolute certainty that it will. But I will say this. No matter what happens in November, what Donald Trump, Elon Musk, Tulsi Gabbard, Robert Kennedy Jr., and others have started is going to go well past 2024. We are in a remarkable time of change in American culture. So thought I'd share that one with you. All right, some other campaign news. Well, folks, it looks like Kamala Harris is stepping up her efforts to reach out through social media to the voters. This past Tuesday, she recorded an interview with a podcast that frankly, in one sense, is ironically revealing about her. Ladies and gentlemen, Kamala Harris is going to sit down with the Call Her Daddy podcast. It will air sometime this coming week. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with the Call Her Daddy podcast, let me give you a little bit of background on this bunch. This is from Wikipedia. Call Her Daddy is an advice and comedy podcast created by Alexandra Cooper and Sophia Franklin. Alexandra Cooper, excuse me. The podcast was formerly owned and distributed by Barstool Sports until June of 21, when it was announced Cooper had signed an exclusive deal with Spotify worth $60 million. Now, according to reports, they're going to be focused on reproductive rights, etc. Now, I'm going to play you just a snippet, and this is not meant to shock or to titillate, but I want you to get a feel for what some of the content is on this podcast. Okay. Now I'm going to warn you. I'm going to give you the host's parental warning in advance. There are going to be some very graphic discussions or words said in this next clip. And if that is not your sort of thing, for the next 2 minutes, you may want to check out. Oh, honey, you ain't heard nothing yet. You ain't heard nothing yet. Now, this clip, to set this up, the hostess, Alexandra Cooper, is having a discussion with a porn star. Okay? Yeah. Again, if you got kids in the room, you don't want them here for the next couple of minutes. Okay? Just telling you. Yeah. So, for those of you not familiar with this podcast, yeah, I thought about not playing this. I thought, you know what? No, we got an adult audience. They can make adult decisions here. But to give you an idea of what kind of show Kamala Harris is going to go on, you can just listen to this. And again, here is your last warning: language and adult situations. And this will now start in 3, 2, 1. Exit the room if you don't want to hear this. Come back in a minute and a half.
How do you work with the balls and the asshole
Okay,
on
so
a man?
the balls, like, it really depends on the guy. Like,
It
some
does.
guys don't like it.
Yeah.
Some have less sensitivity and you can tug on them,
Yes.
put them all in your mouth.
Yeah.
Like, some
Other
guys
are like, fuck.
yeah, it hurts whenever you
Yeah.
try to do it.
And it's so interesting to always see like the difference in the balls because some have like really tight, smaller
Really
ones,
saggy
and then
ones.
other really saggy.
Interesting fact about Mike. I don't know if this is every guy, but he has something that we call like morning balls. In the morning, they're like super tight, like sucked up, like looks like a 12-year-old.
Wait, what?
Yes, they're like really tight and perky in the morning, and then at nighttime they're like
slowly sag
they're like
down.
all saggy out like grandpa balls.
Wait, that's so interesting. I'm
Is
gonna have
every
to
guy
inspect.
like that?
I don't know. Now I'm gonna have to look. I know. Fuck. No, next time the guy.
Olivia.
Next time I'm gonna have to do that. Like, let me inspect the balls in the morning.
and at night.
Because the guy that I'm hooking up with, we were like cuddling in the morning, and he literally took my hand. How do you?
Okay, you can come back in the room now. This is the podcast Kamala Harris is going on sometime this week. Yeah, this podcast is the number 2 podcast in the nation. Yeah, that's a definite WTF clip. Absolutely. And again, I did not do that to try to shock you guys, I just want to give you an idea for the feel of some of the stuff that they talk about. Okay. Now, Paku says, thank you for shutting that off. You're welcome. Believe me, I was not going to let that run any longer than is absolutely necessary. Okay. Oh yeah. I agree. I agree. Ain't getting no argument from me. Well, yeah. Now. I've got so much to say about Kamala Harris going on this show, and I'm sure you guys do too. Now that if you're not familiar with this, there is something appropriately ironic about the fact she's going on the show. Given Kamala's, shall we say, sketchy past when it comes to how she rose the ranks and obtained power politically, her dealings, and that's probably the most discreet way of saying it, her dealings with the legendary Willie Brown of California. And this ought to scare her staffers to death. Alexandra, I'll almost guarantee you, Alexandra Cooper is going to try and get her to go off script. Kamala may be coming there with the plan. I'm going to talk about abortion and reproductive rights and everything else. Don't you think that Alexandra Cooper isn't going to try and get her to talk about her love life or sex or something else, whatever? Which, fine. If Kamala Harris weren't running for president, you want to go on that show, that's your own damn business. That's fine. This is the woman, Kamala Harris, who won't do a serious, sit-down, unscripted interview with anybody, but she'll go on this podcast. And you want to know the kicker to it? You want to know the kicker? That interview that's going to air this week was recorded Tuesday, as we are right in the middle of trying to clean up everything related to Hurricane Helene. She's sitting down with this bunch, which again, it's her choice. It's her campaign. She can do whatever she wants. But I'm telling you, when this gets out, this is not going to help her. Now, it might help her with a certain segment of people, but they're already going to vote for her anyway. Independents are going to look at her and go, seriously? We had a near economy crippling port strike that we dodged the bullet on. We've got a war going in the Middle East that we're going to get sucked into if we're not careful. And we've got cleanup efforts down in the South that right now are just as piss poor as you can get as far as like a federal response. And you made the decision as the Democrat nominee for president to sit down with the Call Her Daddy podcast. I am telling you guys, I could be dead wrong about this. And maybe I'm out of touch culturally, which, okay, I'm not going to lie. On some things, I really am. But I don't see how this redounds to Kamala's benefit. I don't. I mean, yeah, she's going to be talking about abortion and, quote, reproductive rights and all that. Okay, like I said, she's preaching to the choir on those issues. They're going to vote for Kamala anyway. How does this move the needle? How does this move the needle with independents who might yet be undecided, which I don't think there's that much undecided out there, if you want to be honest about it. I just think they don't want to admit it. How does this help her move the needle with undecided independent voters, or maybe even peel off some Trump voters? Ruben, I absolutely agree with you, brother. This is going to backfire like a son of a bitch. And can you imagine the memes that are going to come out of this? Holy cow. If you think the meme war has been hot and heavy now, just wait till they start clipping stuff from this and they start doing the memes on this. Social media is going to go nuts. And frankly, she'll have asked for it. Oh, okay. Denny on direct. All right. Cool. Yeah, we got some stuff on Helene too. We're going to get to here in a minute. WWG1 says, can't believe the strike was over so quickly. I guess I can use the toilet paper I stored up and never buy it again. Well, how much toilet paper did you buy, brother? Lord have mercy. What do you got? A semi-tractor trailer full of Charmin in the backyard or something? What the hell? And by the way, if I can't buy my soft and squeezable stuff because of you, we're going to have a talk. Daggone it. So yeah, this is what Kamala's going to do, which, by the way, kind of explains this meme. If you're Kamala Harris, you have one of two choices. Talk about sucking dick on Call Her Daddy or save lives in Appalachia. You know, I said that memes are the 21st century political cartoon, but man, this one is just very, very accurate. Very accurate. Oh, by the way, WWG1, Seabass is asking a question. If you bought that much toilet paper, what exactly are you eating for food? Just I want to share that with you. And he says, oh, you'll sell me some toilet paper on the black market. You just hold that thought. I might take you up on it, but that's a whole other discussion. Yeah, I found this meme and I was like, oh, we got to share this one. We absolutely got to share this one. Yep, she's got one of two choices. Talk about sucking dick on Call Her Daddy or save lives in Appalachia. What did she do? She decided to talk about sucking dick on Call Her Daddy. Now, to be fair, we have not heard this interview yet. Alex, I'll take Kamala sucking dick for $200, please. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. And now, I said that Kamala has surrogates out there. Well, Gypsy, you better put your earmuffs on your and your cat's ears because I got something for you. Here you go. Check this out.
JB,
Gretchen,
did you know Kamala Harris is going to lower costs for working people?
but did you know that Kamala Harris is going to restore Roe?
But did you know she'll work to onshore supply chains?
But did you know that she's going to create good paying jobs for working families?
But did you know she'll fight for every person so they can get ahead?
Well played, Gretchen. Well played.
Sorry about that, dear. I'm sorry. I should have gave parental warning. My apologies. WWG1 says the left cannot meme. Brother, you are so right. Oh, yeah, you guys catch it. I will thank you. I'll try to do better in future. I'll try to be better behaved host. Or at least give a better warning. Now, I gotta play you guys something, and we're almost getting to the end of the 30-day section of this show. But I've got two more clips before we shift gears, and I think both of these kind of give you an idea. Of where Democrats and Donald Trump are focused right now. I want to play a clip, and I gotta thank Gypsy for sending this to me. David Axelrod was on a podcast recently. I'm not even going to set this up. I just want you guys to hear it.
Here's my question about North Carolina. You had these killer storms, which, by the way, was a third big story this week.
Yes,
these
another
storms, and there's a lot of displacement in western North Carolina. Now Asheville is a blue dot in that area, but there are a lot of Republican voters there.
Key.
But those voters in Asheville are they're the kind of voters who will figure out a way to vote. They're upscale kind of liberal voters, and they're probably going to figure out a way to vote. I'm not sure a bunch of these folks who had their homes and lives destroyed elsewhere in western North Carolina in the mountains there are going to be as easy to wrangle for the Trump campaign.
First of all, that's got to be one of the most insulting things I think I've ever heard in my entire life. Because certain people live in Asheville, North Carolina, and they vote Democrat. That makes them smarter and more sophisticated, and they'll find a way to vote. I'm not so sure these people living in Western North Carolina, who would vote the Trump team is going to have a harder time wrangling these folks. For you lefties out there that support the Democrat Party, I got a question. Can you guys justify his comment? I mean, you can live with that. You can really live with that, with someone who looks down on your fellow citizens like that. Or maybe you view them as nothing more than people in Western North Carolina or Eastern Tennessee as redneck hillbillies, and you can look down your nose. Maybe you do too. I don't know. But can you really live with yourself listening to somebody like David Axelrod pop off a comment like that? I mean, I don't think David Axelrod has an ounce of shame whatsoever. For me to assume that he has shame, basically, you'd have to have a conscience and morals, and I'm pretty sure David Axelrod has neither. Okay? But for those lefties of you all out there, can you live with that? That he thinks that people living in Western North Carolina are so unsophisticated they can't find a way to vote. Oh, believe me, David, I got bad news for you. They're going to still vote. If they can find a way to do it and someone gives them the means to do it, they're going to come vote. You're not going to stop them. Trust me, those people will crawl over broken glass if they have to, but they're coming to vote. Now, maybe not in the same numbers as before Helene. I concede that point, but they're coming. You ain't stopping them. Which, by the way, I've got a comment a little bit later from a lady in Tennessee. Man, her message to the federal government is a rallying cry. It's a battle cry. And not just about how FEMA is responding to this disaster, but about the attitude and the heart and the soul of the people of Appalachia. Okay? Believe me, when you hear her comment and you think back on what David Axelrod said, you're going to realize how wrong old Axelrod is. Now, that's one set of attitude toward the voters. Donald Trump was in Georgia the other day with Governor Brian Kemp. And he was asked a question that I think you ought to hear his answer to, because maybe he's saying it for effect, but I really don't think he is. So anyway, he's asked a question by a reporter, and here it comes.
Say it. I'm not thinking about voters right now. I'm thinking about lives. And to be honest, it's much bigger than anything else. But we're thinking about lives, a lot of lives lost, a lot of people missing. And that's what I'd be focused on right now.
That's what you call leadership. Oh, yeah, Front Porch, you'd say that you're a Trump guy. I got one side over here saying, well, we're not so sure that, voters in Western North Carolina are going to be able to vote for Trump. They're going to have a harder time wrangling him. They lost everything. Here's a guy who's saying, hey, I'm not worried about the votes right now. I'm just worried about the lives. We're worried about lives lost. We're worried about lives that are missing. We're worried about a lot of people. It ain't about the votes. That, among other reasons, is why I'm voting for Donald Trump. All right. It is. Oh my gosh, it's already 12 o'clock. Holy crap. Mercy me. Well, we're definitely headed for that magical third hour, I'm pretty sure. Definitely headed for that magical third hour. I'm almost betting. Anyway, tell you what, since it's the top of the hour, let me do a real quick commercial. We'll move on to our next topic. If you are joining this live stream and you're like, "Ooh, boy, this boy's on fire this morning," well, I'm doing my best. My name is Brian Trippett, and I'm the Front Porch Conservative, and you have found your way to Front Porch Brunch, a live stream we do on the weekends where we and the members of Fedora Nation, both on Rumble and on YouTube, and Twitter, by the way, get together and hang out and talk about what's going on the news, and everybody gets to give their views on it. And if that is your cup of tea, or your kind of mimosa, or your regular Bloody Mary, then why don't you go ahead and subscribe to my channel right now on Rumble and on YouTube? I would really appreciate it. Also, give a thumbs up. Leave a comment in the live stream. That tends to help with the algorithm. Share the link around. Tell your friends about these channels. Help me grow this thing. We're up to 950 on YouTube and about 250 on Rumble, which is totally awesome. And we're zeroing in on that 1,000 mark. So anything you can do to help is greatly appreciated. All right. Let us shift gears. Or maybe it's better to say move to a different compartment of the train. And let's talk about some updates from Hurricane Helene. Now, I've got various things put together for you guys on this, and some of them are memes, some of them are clips, some of them are reports. And the first one I want to start with is a meme, and this one I think goes to something that Leanne and other people are saying about North Carolina and East Tennessee and Georgia and the Virginia area that have been affected by Helene. And it's a question that people are asking, and the answer they're getting is absolutely pissing them off. And like I said, memes are the 21st century answer to the political cartoon, and this one is probably one of the most expressive that I have ever seen. This one is great. Where's FEMA? Well, here comes FEMA on a boat driven by Kamala Harris, and looks like maybe, somebody from Ukraine and other immigrants, and there's the family stuck on the roof of the house. I'm going to drop this one in chat. This one is just that good. Feel free to share it around if you want to. But yeah, here you go. Yeah, this has got to be one of the best cartoons, or memes, I should say. Apologies, I'm thinking 20th century vernacular. One of the best memes that I've seen in a while, but boy, is it powerful. Is it powerful. All right, to Hurricane Helene cleanup updates. I thought the other day that Elon Musk was going to throw down on Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg, or as we lovingly refer to him here on the Electronic Front Porch, Secretary Buttjug, and thank you, WWG1, for that nickname. Elon and Buttjug were about to get into it the other day, and if you're wondering what I'm talking about, I've got some information here, and this relates to Elon's efforts to bring Starlink into the area. Now, for those of you that may not know what I'm referring to, when Helene rolled through Georgia, the Carolinas, and Tennessee, it absolutely, and Virginia, and it knocked out most, if not all, internet connections such that people can't text, email or whatever, okay? Elon, in an effort to try to help, like a lot of Americans have, by the way, okay? Elon got his engineers together and said, hey, I want you guys down there in the Carolinas and Tennessee and Georgia as soon as possible. Take some Starlink packs with you. Let's get people set up. Let's do what we can to try and, get communications up and going. Well, he got a message back from one of his engineers, and Elon just about lost his stuff. Elon's like, what the F? FEMA is both incompetent and stopping our people from helping. What can I do to help? So here's the response from Elon's engineer. Okay. It's true. They are now about to shut down the airspace to, quote, regulate the private shoppers we are riding and deliver Starlink and supplies. We are pushing back with Trump's team as well to help us, but not looking good. We need help to get the word out about FEMA. And we spoke with Ivanka and handed out Starlinks with her yesterday, but FEMA then showed up and started blocking us. The largest concern from us here is the FAA throttling flights for our choppers, where they are requiring to and from information and mission now to deliver a discrete code. Doing this takes a long time and is very cumbersome to the ops. This is the largest concern, but would most help we could use, but we appreciate it. Okay. So so Elon posted this the other day. Okay. Now check this out. No sooner does Elon Musk post this, but that Secretary Buttigieg, responds with the following. No one is shutting down the airspace, and the FAA does not block legitimate rescue and recovery efforts. Now, hold on a minute. What is defined as legitimate rescue and recovery effort? What's legitimate? And why are you trying to determine what's legitimate and what's not? The issue here is to get help into these people and try to save lives. And if we've got to do that by helicopter, mule, billy goat, which, by the way, I saw a video the other day of people loading up billy goats and rams with supplies and taking them up a string of them up into the hills and mountains in North Carolina. That blew my mind. I thought the mules was amazing. People are actually using goats to try to get these supplies in. Just blew my mind. But anyway, Buttigieg says no one's trying to shut down legitimate efforts. Okay. So Elon says, thanks for helping simplify. Supply flights are now underway. Much appreciated. So yeah, he was about to get into it with Buttigieg. Oh yeah, goats love the mountains. Absolutely. And pack mules. You know, we'll see. I'm getting various reports from various places. But again, let's see how all this shakes out. But I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised at all. Oh, okay. Man, I feel bad for Chimney Rock. And I'm not just saying that, Leanne, because you posted that. I'm serious. The images coming out of that town they just make you want to cry. They really do. So yeah, Elon and Booty JJ got into it the other day. Yeah, it was getting bad at one point. It really was. What else have we got by way of updates? Let's see. Hang on a minute. Oh, now this was the one that Doc McCutcheon sent me. And this is a clip of a lady who was at an airport and overheard various officials from FEMA who were having discussions. And now, I'm going to warn you guys right now, some of these clips run a little bit long, but I think you need to hear them. I'm not going to necessarily play everything in its entirety, but some of these clips run a couple of minutes, so just be advised. But you guys need to hear these stories. This is a lady in Western North Carolina.
Picked up a flight of pediatric medical supplies that were brought in and are going to North Asheville. We were sitting in the private portion of the airport, and we got to overhear an awful lot. The Army pilots, the Navy pilots, hospital representatives, there was a lot of chatter. While we were there, a private jet landed and 4 FEMA representatives got off. 4 people off of a private jet. Come to find out, and you're not going to hear this, so let me tell you. Come to find out, Mission Hospital was told, a private hospital, that they are going to go ahead and be the morgue center for body recovery. All of the Army Chinook helicopters you're seeing flying overhead, they are doing body recovery. FEMA said, and you can take this as a direct quote, said that they are too tied up at the border to send any more representatives. Yeah, at the border. So anyhow, I guess border control trumps whatever's going on here. So they told Mission Hospital they are not sending refrigerated trucks so that they can stack the bodies up. And we also overheard that whatever fatality numbers you are hearing, and this is a quote, go ahead and add a couple of zeros. So FEMA's too busy with the border. A private hospital and the Army are going to take over body recovery, and private individuals with their private helicopters and their private planes are the ones who are flying in supplies. I was at Hangar 10. I was picking up supplies. There was a stack for the Cajun Navy. There was a stack that looked like it was ASPCA. These are all being sent by private individuals. FEMA is doing nothing. Go ahead and share that.
I'm going to drop that one in chat on both sides. Now, again, I'm going to add one disclaimer. These are videos, and I'm not saying they're lying. I'm not saying they're not telling the truth. I'm not saying they're telling you 100% truth. But these are stories that are coming out of the Carolinas, Tennessee, Georgia, and Virginia. And even though the press may say that they are unverified, my test for this at this stage is, now, honey, are you going to believe what I tell you or what you see with your lying eyes? I'm ready to believe her. And by the way, I have reason to do so because we've got some eyewitnesses from down there. Glenn Beck, currently a resident of the Free Republic of Texas, was trying to do some information gathering and some relief efforts on his own as part of his organization, The Blaze and Mercury One. And he gave a telephone interview to a couple of hosts on his network. And you got to hear this. And that's a fair point. That's why I sort of add the disclaimer, this is what people are posting, but we've got some, all right. And I'll give you that one too, but we sort of got some confirmation. I've got a clip here from Glenn Beck where he's giving eyewitness account to what he saw. This one runs a little long, but you need to hear this.
Beck on the phone from North Carolina. So Glenn, what is Blaze doing in North Carolina right now?
We're just tracking down the facts of what's happening. There's a lot of stuff on the internet. Some of it's true, shockingly true, and we'll have the details on that. Some of it is not true. I will tell you that every American should see this. It is so hopeful. The FEMA. I've seen one FEMA truck. I just interviewed them. They arrived last night. They had a communications truck, so they've got a big satellite, so they can talk to people on TV. They were tucked away. We were driving with 8-9 people. I was the only one that saw the truck tucked way away from everyone. I said to them, what are you doing here? They were all sitting at a card table with one computer. And they said, well, we need to be where the people are. And I thought, well, the people aren't here. And we're getting them registered so they can sign up for government aid. It is absolutely ridiculous what the federal government is doing. But again, the hope is coming from the people here. You would not believe how, there's a makeshift airport. One of the helicopters is taking off. We're just getting in now. We're just winding ours up because we're going to do a medevac from an old man who's in really bad shape and trapped in his house. And it's all being done by, former special forces. The Harley Davidson dealer here is doing it. This is communities and one American after another coming in and just helping. And we'll have everything you need to know on tomorrow's radio show. And Jill is with me, so she'll be back tomorrow. And we've got some amazing pictures to show you as well.
Glenn, Matthew here. This is fascinating. So you're confirming that what you're seeing is very little action from the federal government and a lot of organized action.
What I'm saying is no action from the federal government. And tomorrow, once I've already talked to 2 sources, and when I get a third one, which I'm going to get here in the next couple of hours, you will have a well-sourced story that is telling you when FEMA does arrive, what they do. They have pulled one source is a semi-truck driver who had been pulled over by FEMA, and they took his food off his truck because they know better. Wow. We have FEMA trying to shut down the Hilo field because the FAA isn't involved. Screw the FAA. If you had planes down here and you had helicopters yourself and you were rescuing them, then fine, we'd shut this down. But you're not here. And I really don't think they care. I really don't think they care. There are people that are still dying. We're on our way to Chimney Rock after this rescue. We're going to Chimney Rock. We're going to land there and try to find somebody from the city to find out they are bulldozing Chimney Rock. Now, that would have to happen, but is the government going to allow those people to move back and build their homes? Not according to FEMA's own mission plan, no.
That's terrifying. What are some of the major issues that you see arising for people?
Now, apologies to you guys. I know that clip ran a little bit long, but I want you to hear it in its entirety as much as I possibly can. There's a follow-up to that, and it's when Glenn got back. And again, you can like Glenn Beck, and I know Seabass has his opinion, and that's fine. I respect you for it. But I'm just saying, these are reports from people on the ground. These are people who are there. TBA says, no, Chimney Rock is gone and the entire area is confiscated by the feds. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I've heard a report contrary to that and not from official news. I'm just saying there was a guy on the ground posted on a YouTube video. I don't have the clip pulled up. Again, there's varying things going on right now, so I get it. Let's see. WWG1 says, concerning the 750, those payments are loans paid back in 1 year or they take your property. Jeez, oh Pete, why am I not surprised? Anyway, Glenn had a follow-up when he got back, and we'll go ahead and play that one for you.
Truck arrived to set up the showers. There were some paper pushers there, and they saw that some just volunteer special forces, guys who were just, used to be in special forces, they set up a little medical tent. We had been flying in medicine like not ivermectin, insulin and things. People need to have their insulin. We set that up, and these guys were running this medical tent. And the guys from FEMA come in, and this woman comes over and she says, "What are you doing here?" And guy says, we're providing medical care and clinic. We have insulin and things that people need. May I see your license? Oh my gosh. We don't have a license. And she said, well, then you're not going to be doing this. And he said, you're right. We're not going to be doing this because you're leaving and I'm getting back to work. And she looked at him like, what the heck are you saying to me? And he said, we've been here for 7 days. You just arrived. So we're going to continue to provide life-saving medication and you can go away. And she did. Wow. She did. I mean, good. We had to airlift this 85-year-old woman. Her story is just so tragic. She's out in the middle of the hills. I mean, it is spectacularly beautiful there and very tragic. And we're picking her up, and as we're putting her into the helicopter, she's saying, that damn Biden, she is, where the hell is the federal government?
That's the question that a lot of people are asking right now. Oh, probably so, dear. Probably so. Probably so indeed. Again, these are reports from people who are on the ground. And again, like him, not like him, I can understand how some people feel. I'm just saying, I'm sharing what people are seeing. Yeah, Representative Corey Mills from Florida went down there with him. Yeah. WWG1 says, people are waking up in tragedy. Yes, they are. You're not wrong, my friend. You are not wrong at all. Yeah, here's a meme that kind of describes, I guess, the priorities of the federal government right now as far as making sure people have health care in the Carolinas after Helene. So I found this one earlier, and I was like, yep, yeah, that's pretty good. That's probably a pretty good representation of priority right now. WWG wants, or should I say, they're waking up because of tragedy. That's probably a better way to put it, WWG1. Now, I think you're right about that point. I think you're right about that, my friend. Here's another one. Here's a gentleman named Spencer Smith. Chris describes himself on Twitter as Christian, husband, father, preacher, filmmaker, etc. He says, I just got off the phone with a pastor in the midst of the flooding in Tennessee and North Carolina. He is in one of the most devastated locations. And this was posted yesterday around 11 o'clock in the morning. He verified a few things about the situation. Number one, almost all help is being done by private citizens, mainly churches. Number two, private helicopters are flying in the vast majority of these supplies. Number three, local sheriffs are telling people to feel free to defend their property from looters by whatever means they have. Without rule of law is happening in some areas, which means looting, robbing, etc. FEMA's involvement has seriously complicated rescue efforts. Local sheriffs have threatened to arrest FEMA workers if they hinder rescue work and aid. Wow. Just wow. I mean, think about how bad it has to get when a local sheriff turns to a federal official and says, if you guys don't get the hell out of the way and let them do what they're trying to do, we're going to arrest you instead of them. Think about that for a minute. That's incredible to me. Just incredible. And finally, the response to this tragedy has been massive and overwhelming. All from private individuals and local churches pray for these people. Yeah, if what that pastor's saying is true, apparently that's what they've decided to do to deal with things. They're like, let's see, I got a choice between arresting these guys who are actually helping and the federal FEMA worker who's doing nothing. Yeah, I'm slapping the cuffs on the FEMA guy. Wow. That again, if true, wow. TBA says it's about GD time that the sheriffs start arresting these FEMA agents to hinder their rescue. Yeah. Again, if what's being reported is true, then, boy, that is a definite turning of the worm, so to speak. Oh, and by the way, found this, not necessarily a meme, but somebody put this together, and I thought it was pretty good. You're not trying to deliver aid to flood survivors, are you there, John Rambo? Yeah. That was pretty good. I saw this. It's I mean, the one that I saw was an unconfirmed report. Now, maybe you've seen something else, but unconfirmed report that, yeah, one of these FEMA workers got the crap beat out of him up in the Carolina mountains the other night. Late last night, it was reported true by witnesses. Okay, well, then we've seen different versions of that, but okay. I've heard something similar. So, yeah, it is crazy what's going on right now. Now, you're hearing reports that, like Glenn Beck had mentioned that, trucks are being confiscated, stuff's being taken off of there. I got shall we say, a possible independent corroboration. Check this one out.
Okay, sorry, real quick. We're catching wind now that people are being stopped at the borders. If you are coming in with stuff, do not tell the police that you're doing that. Fucking lie and say that you live here, you're coming home, you have 100% pure pathway. Deny. Do not say you're bringing stuff to aid us because they're turning you around. I don't know why. I do not know why, but yeah, that's happening. So just with that said, be sneaky. Sneak it in here. Remember, we are in fact playing a real life video game and we are here to win. The rules kind of don't apply anymore here. We don't have rules. All that's fake now. So just ride the wave with me and put on your best gamer mentality and help me win this. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, it's bad, folks. It is bad. And here's some more confirmation about this. And again, take the source with a grain of salt. You can like her, you can not like her. Laura Loomer posted this the other day. FEMA is blocking delivery trucks from delivering supplies in North Carolina. Trucks from Florida are being ordered to turn around. A follower of mine says a company of her husband that she works for sent 60 trucks to help in North Carolina, and all of them were denied access to help. They were ordered to turn around and blocked from entering by a blockade. Why is there a blockade on Asheville? Not only are Elon Musk's generous efforts to assist the people in North Carolina being denied, but truckers who drove all the way from Florida to help are being turned around. And this is the text that she got from a friend of hers. Want to share some info with you. The company that my husband used to work for out of Tampa sent 60 heavy trucks. They arrived yesterday to Asheville, and well, they were denied access and made them turn back around and go to Florida. I am beyond furious. The company that sent them is Transfos and Whitney, based out of Bartow, Florida. Thought you'd like to know. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Just take the source with a grain of salt. Just saying. Just trying to share as much information as I'm seeing or can find out there. So yeah. And by the way, here's a little bit more confirmation. This is from a gentleman who's former military. And I thought you guys might want to see this one. Check it out.
I'm currently in Asheville, North Carolina with my company doing disaster security for a dialysis company. And we're also doing search and rescue for patients to bring them to dialysis so they don't die. This place is a war zone, people, and the military is not here. And the reason I'm pissed, because I was part of the operation during Hurricane Katrina. I was stationed in San Diego, and within 96 hours, we were in Louisiana. And these bastards are not sending the military here. There's so much destruction. There's no news crews here. That's why you're not seeing it. The American people should be angry at what our government is doing to this town. There are people hurting here. There are so many people dying. I drove past a young kids about 5 to 7 years old. They were brother and sister, and they were looking for their parents. We got them to a church. These young kids don't know where their mom and dad are. And the military is being fucking hamstringed by these goddamn DOD fucking executives. If you're not angry, you should be. Because this is what our government thinks about us. They're not here to help us. We have to take care of ourselves. There's towns here that are self-policing. We drove into towns where the town folk came up to us and said, "What are you doing here?" So we're looking for patients. We're trying to get them help. And they welcomed us with open arms. This is bad, people. You're not here. It is very bad. We need water. We need food. We need clothes. I'm in a budget motel, and I'm very grateful, and I feel somewhat guilty that I have a roof over my head and a shower. And it's right across from the airport. There was a man that took off yesterday in his helicopter to go up in the mountains to drop off food. He landed and got arrested and said he was interfering with the government, a government operation. But there's no operations going on. I'm sick to my stomach that our government treats our American people this way. And then when they get slapped in the face, oh, here's $750. After we sent over $200 billion overseas. Mayorkas, you're a traitor to your country.
That's pretty powerful. TBA asked the question, who precisely is blocking the road? Apparently it's FEMA. I'm getting reports like that from all over the place. Yeah, please. Yeah, if you find anything, dear, pass it on. I would be very interested. Very interested. Oh, goodness. Yeah. It's stuff like that. It's stories like that that are coming out now. And oh, by the way, speaking of those $750 checks, I've got a clip here. I'm going to tell you right now. This one is unverified. Okay, the story that she's about to tell, it is unverified, but you guys might want to hear this. And again, I don't know what her circumstances are. Oh yeah. Hang on. You beat me to it, Gypsy, but that's okay. I love you. Yeah, I got a clip here backing up Gypsy's story that people are being denied the 750. Again, this clip is unverified, but you guys need to hear this. Check it out.
Hey guys, for those that don't know, I'm at the foothills of the Western North Carolina mountains, and everybody in my area that I've talked to, including myself, who applied for the $750 assistance payment from FEMA, has been denied. Okay? Yeah. They've denied us. Okay. So here we sit. We've thrown out all of our food because we had no power for 5-6 days. Some still are without power. Here we sit. Limited resources in the store. And they have denied our $750 resource check. So, yeah. How do you like that?
Hey, you know what? You guys can steal my thunder anytime you need to. I may be the host of this little thing we do, but you know what? If you guys got info, bring it. Bring it. I mean, here was a beautiful example. I got somebody commenting on it. I got the clip lined up for it. Boom. This is why this is the best audience on the internet. Period. Hands down. I'll take you guys into war. All right? In a heartbeat. I love you guys. Yeah, yeah. And here's something else for you to think about. Oh, God. I cannot tell you how much I loathe the federal government right now. Trust me, I have a healthy skepticism where the feds are concerned. And for some of them, I can't stand the ground they walk on. But every time I'm thinking about what's going on with Helene right now, and then you get this little gem of news from Secretary of State Anthony Blinken. The United States is at the forefront of humanitarian response to the growing crisis in Lebanon, announcing nearly $157 million in assistance today. We are committed to supporting those in need and delivering essential aid to displaced civilians, refugees, and the communities hosting them. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm furious. $157 million to people clear across an ocean and a Mediterranean Sea who are not even citizens of the United States. And we've got our own people dying in the mountains of Carolina. And you're sitting here touting the fact you're giving our money away that ought to be going to our people to a bunch of individuals not even in the United States. I am furious. Furious. Tone deaf doesn't even begin to describe this, Ruben. Satanically evil is more like it. Our people are dying down there in the Carolinas and Georgia and Tennessee and Virginia, and you're hand clapping yourself that you're proud of the fact you gave away their money to somebody else? To hell with you! Paku is like, fuck off to this complete fuckery. You ain't wrong. Oh yeah, it's done on purpose, but my God. Okay, sorry, Ruben, I missed your above post. Hang on. Oh my God, sorry. All right, here's the one I should have been reading first. My apologies, sir. Legislative is blaming executive, executive is blaming legislature. The entire U.S. government is ineffective, incompetent, and guilty of depraved indifference. Vote them all. Yeah, it is just sick. It is just sick, my friend. Honey, I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you. TBA says, now we're getting to the guts of the situation. Those evil SOBs are doing this on purpose. Oh, brother. Yeah. And by the way, here's a sick joke for you. What do you get when you take a $750 FEMA check and you mix it together with Kamala Harris? I am a generous God. A little reference to the movie 300. Yep, she's a generous God, all right. She'll give her citizens $750 while at the same time hands out millions and billions of dollars to countries that have nothing to do with us. WWG1 over on Rumble says that's why traditional politics and political parties don't matter anymore. Yep, you're right. You are so right. I'll just leave this one right here. Just saying. Yep. What do you get when you mix a $750 FEMA check, Kamala Harris, and the movie 300? You get this meme. Oh my God. My God. Okay.
I'm going to give you a quick update to the clamp efforts.
I'm not ready. You just chill out over there. All right. One more, and then I've got an article I gotta get to, because this article is going to sum up. This article is going to sum up what a lot of the problem is down in the Carolinas, Georgia, Tennessee, and Virginia. But I want to play this as the setup. Why are we having so much trouble helping out down there? Why are we having all the problems that we're having? Well, from this young man's perspective, I give you the following.
I'm going to give you a quick update to the clamp efforts in East Tennessee, Western North Carolina. If you know someone who has helicopters, I've been requested by one county. They need them. They have lots of volunteers. They need people to fly helicopters. If you know somebody who has one, or you yourself have one, please let me know. Share this video, make it blow up. I don't care about the views. I just need the information to get out there. That's the only way to access those people in those locations, because the roads are completely gone. I'm not talking about they're degraded. They're gone. UTVs can't even get out there. If you know somebody who has a helicopter, please let me know so I can get you in contact with the people who need them.
Okay, but this sort of begs the question. Why? Why private helicopters? I mean, my God, we've got 4 different military bases in the area affected by Helene. What the hell is going on? I mean, don't get me wrong. For the private citizens who have, helicopters in their ownership, or maybe as part of their business and they're volunteering them, God bless these people. Okay? And I'm not trying to take anything away from what they're doing. They are doing God's work right now. And I'm not joking when I use that term. They're doing God's work of compassion to those less fortunate and who have been tragically devastated by this. But why? We've got military assets in that area. I think I found an answer. And I'm going to go ahead before I even start reading this, and I'm going to drop this one in chat. You guys may have seen this one, but if you haven't, I'm going to share it with you, because you definitely ought to read this article. I'm going to go through it. And normally I don't necessarily do this, but this article is so well evidenced and documented that it's worth the full read. And like I say, normally I don't do this on a live stream, but this one's worth it. You guys need to see this. Okay. This is from the Federalist, and the author has chosen to cloak his identity in a great old American tradition. He's not giving his real name for, I guess, personal reasons and reasons of he feels are appropriate, but he goes by the handle Cynical Publius. And he's written the following. Comparing Helene to Katrina suggests Americans are left to die because Democrats run the White House. Woo, that headline will get the conversation started. The devastation wrought across the American Southeast by Category 4 Hurricane Helene last week has naturally drawn comparisons to the 2005 Hurricane Katrina response. This cynical Publius says he is a veteran of military logistics. I can confirm that President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris' response to this round of mass suffering has been orders of magnitude worse than federal actions taken after Katrina. In 2005, I was a U.S. Army colonel serving on the Army staff in the Pentagon. Before Katrina was even nearing landfall, I was detailed as a shift officer in the National Military Command Center for Hurricane Support Operations as a career logistics officer. This was the culmination of a non-combat mission I had been associated with since my first commission, disaster relief and humanitarian support operations. From the Yellowstone fires in 1988, while I was a mere first lieutenant, through Hurricane Fran, while I was serving at Fort Bragg, now Fort Liberty, as a major in the 82nd Airborne, through the humanitarian missions that supply battalions of the 82nd I commanded in Afghanistan accomplished, and through many training events and ordering drills I endured in this arena, this secondary mission of all logicians was something that defined a substantial part of my military career. As such, I was privileged to be part of a national support for Katrina. So you can tell from this guy, cynical Publius, this guy's been around the block. He's done a lot of this stuff before. So he's laying out his credentials to tell people why it is he's got a right to say something about this. And with that, we continue through the article. Despite the misleading media reports of failure, as I served in the NMCC, I was enthralled and impressed with the sheer power that was brought to bear by our military to support endangered Americans during Katrina. Nothing feels better than making a difference for your fellow Americans, and as such, I, now a long-retired veteran, paid careful attention to Hurricane Helene, anticipating the same robust military and federal support. As you can imagine, I have been grossly disappointed with the delayed and inept nature of the federal response. Why did this happen? Why did our military, the actual muscle of federal disaster response, and FEMA is a mere coordinating agency, sit largely on the sidelines for Helene? I want to know, and I suppose you do too. Helene and Katrina are roughly comparable disasters, even though Katrina hit the urban setting of New Orleans, whereas Helene was across a region with only one major population center, Asheville, population 94,000. In Katrina, 2 million people lost enduring power. In Helene, it's closer to 1.5 million. Yes, New Orleans is on the ocean, and the worst impact of Helene was largely concentrated in mountainous hollows, but I would argue this makes support to Helene victims harder than Katrina. And he goes on, much of what has been made of the media on October 2nd, about a week after Helene laid landfall, President Joe Biden authorized 1,000 soldiers of the 82nd Airborne Division to support Helene relief operations, but let's contrast that with Katrina, shall we? First, let's be clear. In both disasters, state National Guard units performed valiantly under the command and control of state governors. However, the problem with National Guard units in given state is twofold. Number one, state National Guard units often lack the full spectrum of combat support, and combat support service units found in the active component of bases very close to Helene, like Fort Campbell in Kentucky, Fort Bragg and Fort Lejeune in North Carolina, and Fort Stewart in Georgia. Second, state National Guard units have often had their armories and homes in the member areas in the path of the disaster, making it harder to provide fulsome support. Let us compare Katrina and Helene. In Katrina, a 3-star general was placed in command, along with a 2-star commanding general of the 82nd Airborne Division, with a full airborne infantry brigade task force of the 82nd, a corps support logistics command of thousands of soldiers, a signal battalion, a combat support hospital, robust Army engineer assets, and countless other support units. All of these units were on standby orders days after Katrina hit. Now listen to this. In contrast, a week after Helene hit, a tiny 1,000 troop airborne infantry battalion task force of the 82nd, 1/3 the size of a brigade, was given a warning order under the ground command of a mere one-star general. These forces are without the medical, engineer, corps-level logistics, signal communications, and Division Army HQ command and control capabilities as defined in Katrina. What about the Marines? Well, in Katrina, the Marines sent 2,600 under the command of a 2-star Marine Division commanding general. For Helene, near as I can tell after extensive web research and quizzing my followers on Twitter, the United States Marine Corps has not been tasked to send a single damned Marine. The Navy is probably not a fair comparison since New Orleans is an ocean port and the mountains of North Carolina are not. After Katrina, the Navy sent a carrier task force and a hospital ship along with 63 aircraft. For Helene, the Navy has sent 10 helicopters. Let me read that line again, ladies and gentlemen. The Navy has sent 10 helicopters to cover a Georgia North 3, a 5-state region. 10 helicopters. That's it. That's all the Navy has sent with regard to responding to Helene. Leanne says, my husband was an engineer with the 82nd and deployed to Katrina. It was bad, but they were there and they did something. Exactly. Going a little bit further into this article, with regard to the Coast Guard, you ask? Yes, they are a blue water force, but they have riverine capabilities that would make a huge difference in the hills of North Carolina. In 2005, they sent 43 aircraft that conducted search and rescue operations almost immediately after Katrina made landfall. In Helene, the Coast Guard disestablished its area command, but it did find time to help a handful of people and rescue 5 pets. Oh, thank God they rescued the 5 pets. The Air Force's airlift capabilities are largely strategic, but in Katrina, they were busy evacuating thousands of injured and displaced people. After Helene, it seems they're mostly busy repairing their own airfields and not much else. This is curious, seeing as their C-130s could be working closely with the parachute riggers from Fort Bragg to prepare essential supplies for airdrop. Well, I guess not. The folks trapped in the hollows of North Carolina's mountains need helicopter support most of all to receive essential food and water and construction and medical supplies, and to evacuate the stranded, the elderly, the sick, and the injured. And if you review the links I included above, you'll see that hundreds of active duty helicopters were involved in Katrina. As for Helene, if you look at the DoD's press releases, it looks like there are 28 active duty helicopters. They're thinking about maybe getting around as of September 30. So look at the contrast. With Katrina, we threw the kitchen sink at New Orleans. Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, everything we could spare. Logistical planning, everything else. Helene, well, we might be able to share something with you. But why? Why is it so bad? Well, here's his answers, and this is stuff's going to make your blood boil. The Biden-Harris administration's federal response to Helene has been horrific, if not criminal, and I've spent a lot of time trying to figure out why it's been so bad. Creating a list of every possible explanation, no matter how remote, I pressure tested this list with my followers on Twitter, many of whom are active duty, reserves, National Guard, or retired military. With that in mind, here is the full curated list in no particular order of all possible reasons why active duty military forces have not yet been deployed en masse for disaster relief in North Carolina. Number 1, the Biden-Harris administration is grossly incompetent in terms of not pre-staging assets and not cutting through red tape to get assets moving. One of the criticisms I received from Harris supporters on Twitter is that North Carolina's governor has not requested federal military support, so there's nothing Biden or Harris can do. While this is a technically accurate explanation of the Stafford Act, I consider this argument utterly BS. Any competent president could pressure any governor to accept federal support. What governor wants the president bad-mouthing him or her on national television? Biden's failure to get this request quickly is sheer incompetence. Reason number 2. Units based in the southeastern United States, like the 101st Airborne Division, the 82nd Airborne Division, the 18th Airborne Division, and the 2nd Marine Division are currently under classified deployment or standby orders to deploy to Ukraine, Eastern Europe, Israel, Syria, Lebanon, Iran, Taiwan, or some other world hotspots, and therefore cannot spare their units at this moment. This one scares me because it may be true. Additionally, the 101st Airborne, the 3rd Infantry Airborne Division out of Fort Stewart, and the 3rd Expeditionary Sustainment Command out of Fort Bragg all have significant elements of their units deployed to Eastern Europe or the Middle East, degrading support capabilities at home. Now that, right there, I don't need anything else. That ought to make your blood boil. Ought to absolutely make your blood boil. A few more reasons that he gives. The classified readiness rates of America's military helicopters and their crews are vastly worse than anyone outside the military understands. Is this it? I hope not, because how these units support global wartime missions. Also, when discussing military helicopters, it's important to understand that there's a maintenance and crew rest requirements. However many helos you have, you really only have about 40% of them available for missions at any one single time. Reason number 4 the response has been so bad. Hurricane Helene damaged most military helicopters in North Carolina, Georgia, and Tennessee, and that fact is being kept a secret. This one, however, seems improbable. Fort Campbell and Fort Bragg were not hit hard by Helene, and military aviation units have standard protocols to fly their aircraft out of the path of destructive weather. Okay? Active duty military assets are not needed, and therefore everything's just peachy keen. You've seen the news, and so have I. That one's absurd. Reason number 6 that the response may not be that good. Conditions on the ground and availability of aviation support units make it impossible to establish forward bases for the helicopters to operate. Again, this one's kind of hard to believe. Helicopter units have organic support capabilities, and the bases I mentioned have millions of gallons in underground storage tanks. The last one, however, this one is the one that everybody's thinking. The Biden-Harris administration and or the Democrat North Carolina governor are maliciously and deliberately denying or delaying the use of assets for nefarious reasons only they know, such as, for example, making sure red counties in North Carolina can't vote for Donald Trump. And again, folks, I dropped the link to this article. Oh, yeah, this thing ought to make your blood boil. And one more meme to kind of sum it all up. Yep, here come the helicopters to drop off immigrants from all over the world, but not do a thing to help citizens of the United States. So like I say, pretty damn shocking. Pretty damn shocking. Now, all of this is bad, and I don't dispute any of that, okay? I really don't. But the people of Georgia, Tennessee, the Carolinas, and Virginia have a message for our federal government. Their federal government, by the way. It's still their government too. And they have a message for them. And this message sums up the heart, the soul, and the spirit of the people of Appalachia. Because let's be honest, we can name 5 states. Let's be honest, this region is Appalachia. And for those of you who are watching this live stream and maybe you're somewhere else in America or somewhere around the world and you don't understand what being from Appalachia in the United States means, I got an almost 50-second clip here that is going to give you a real feel for the spirit of the people of this area. And with that, I submit to you the following.
This message is for the government and anybody else who thinks they could slow us down. You obviously don't know what kind of people we are. You ever heard the saying, come hell or high water? Well, here we are. You want to try to stop us? We'll find another way around you. Newsflash to you again. We know the mountains like the back of our hands. Those are our people. You ain't going to do jack shit. We're going to do everything we can. You want to push us? We push back harder. You don't think that's going to happen? Keep pushing us. We don't roll over. We don't back down. We will get to our brothers and sisters. Without you, we don't need you.
That, ladies and gentlemen, if you've never learned anything about the spirit of the people of Appalachia, that young lady in less than 1 minute summed up the heart, the soul, and the fire in the belly of the men and women of that mountain range. Could be she's grifting a little bit. Don't dispute that, but the thought behind every word, can't deny the power of it. So that's our latest update about what's going on with Helene. Oh boy, what time is it? Oh gosh, it's almost 1 o'clock. Yeah, those are your people. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, WWG1, she may not be the one who added the music. That's true too. That's true. So yeah, Paku says we can't stop praying. I believe that. So yeah, just there you go. All right, it's almost 1 o'clock, and I've got one more story to get through. Now I'll turn you all loose, which of course you're at complete liberty to leave whenever you feel you need to. I understand it's your Saturday, and I appreciate the time you've been spending here. And if you're wondering where here is, well, welcome to the Electronic Front Porch. My name is Brian Trippett. I'm the Front Porch Conservative. This session of this thing we do is called Chatting on the Porch. So I got one more story. But before I get to it, please do me some favors. If you're not a regular here, go ahead and subscribe to my channel on YouTube and Rumble. And follow me on Twitter while you're at it. Leave some comments in the live stream. Hit the thumbs up, all that good stuff. All right. Trump's going back to Butler, Pennsylvania, baby. Today. It is game on. 30 days to go. Almost Almost 3 full months from the attempted assassination on his life. The first one, by the way, well, the first that we know about. He's going back. And not only is he going back, he's bringing some friends. But we'll get to that in a minute. Here's local coverage of the news about Trump coming back.
As you just mentioned, former President Donald Trump will hold a rally tomorrow at the Butler Farm Show grounds, nearly 3 months after the assassination attempt at that site. Trump will be joined by his running mate J.D. Vance and billionaire Elon Musk, who posted on his platform X that he will be in attendance. Much of the focus on tomorrow's rally will be on safety.
We have the benefit of learning, from the prior event. And I know that our team, led by our emergency management director, did an after action and review of everything that, that occurred and what can we do better and what can be different.
Also attending tomorrow's rally, the family of Corey Comparator, who was shot and killed on July 13th at that rally, as well as David Dutch and James Copenhaver, who were shot and injured that day. We do have a full list of the guests set to attend tomorrow's rally on our website, WTAE.com, and the WTAE app.
And that's News 4 out of Pittsburgh. And here's the list. Let me see if I can enlarge this a little bit, make it easier for you guys to read it. There we go. Comparator family, Corey's wife, daughters. Man, you got a blue slew of people coming back for this thing. Elon Musk is going to be there. This one, I'm going to do my best to try and watch this thing today. And it'll probably be on Right Side Media and other places around the internet. But this one's going to be, I don't know. I mean, I've watched all kinds of Trump rallies before, and I'm sure you have too. But I get the feeling this is going to be maybe a little different than anything we've ever seen, or maybe that we will see. I mean, there's a lot of different angles in which to consider this story. I know. I mean, I've heard reports, and I know you guys have too, of the security that has been ratcheted up for this event. I mean, I got no doubt in my mind at all Oh, I have seen that. I have seen that. I know what you're talking about. I don't have it pulled up, but I've seen it. Oh, yeah. I totally agree with this. I totally agree with this. Here's a man who is not 3 full months removed from an attempt on his life, that had he not turned his head a quarter of an inch or turned his body ever so slightly, he'd be dead. Shot dead on national television. And I know there's going to be like security out the yin-yang for this thing. I don't doubt that, but it's still got to be going through this man's mind when he steps up on that stage. Could it happen again? You have Corey Comparator's family who are going to be there. And by the way, have I got that? Have I got it? Tell me I've got it. Yeah. This was set up as a way to honor Corey. His jacket and flowers right around where he was sitting. It's already been set up. You got to be wondering what's going through their mind. You got to be wondering what's going through the mind of people who were there maybe that day and they're coming back again. Which, by the way, the lines up and down the street. I mean, let me just show you a real quick image. I'm going to play this without sound and just let it run in the background. This was like from early this morning. And from what I understand, people were like camping out a day in advance to get into this thing. Look at this. You got to be wondering what's going through their mind. Wow. Oh, I'm not surprised by this. I am not surprised by this at all. I'm not surprised in the slightest. Look at that. That line. And this clip runs about 1:21. They're not looping this, by the way. This clip is not looped. And that looks like that was taken early morning because you can see the dawn in the background. Look at that. That's just incredible. And you gotta be wondering what's going through their minds too. Could something be about to happen? Maybe. I mean, it's got to be just as scary for them as for everybody else. But we're now down to 30 days. And you could make an argument. Hey, Mayhem. Sorry, excuse me one second, folks. Hey, Morning Mayhem. How you doing? I see you over there on Rumble. Glad to have you here. He says, if that image, the Corey Compatore image does not tug at your heart, there's something wrong with you. Trump's reverence over the whole situation has been eye-opening to a lot of people. He's changing hearts. I agree with that completely. And Mayhem, do me a favor. Reach out to me on Twitter. I want to talk to you. Nothing bad. Nothing. You haven't done anything wrong. I want to talk to you. See if maybe we can get together for a conversation on the channel sometime. And I mean that. I'm very serious. Reach out to me on Twitter, my brother. Let's get together and talk. So I found your channel, you found mine. Let's hook it up and see what we can see if we can talk to each other. Okay, seriously, yeah, absolutely. Reach out to me. I'd love to talk to you. Anyway, the event unofficially starts at 3:00. Trump is supposed to speak at 5. It's 30 days to the election. He's going back to the place you can make an argument where it all started. And when I say it all started, whatever this thing is, it's past the point of being a campaign. This movement that has united Donald Trump to Robert Kennedy Jr. with Elon Musk and Tulsi Gabbard, MAGA, Maha, and Democrats and Republicans and independents and everything else. We're going back to where it started. And there's a lot of energy coming out of today. And to me, and I'm going to use an analogy, and hopefully everybody here has seen the Lord of the Rings movies. To me, this is that moment in the Battle of Pelennor Field where the enemy hears a horn blowing off in the distance. And as the enemy turns to look up the hill, here comes this row of horses coming up across the horizon as the sun's coming up. And Theoden, king of Rohan, gives a speech to the riders to the Rohirrim. Maybe this is the beginning of the cavalry charge. We'll see. We'll see. Oh, you get. I'm already seeing it in chat. Yeah, I'm already seeing you guys in chat. You know the scene I'm referring to. I have often said that has got to be the greatest cavalry charge in cinematic history. And I am yet to find anybody that disagrees with me. Not that I've talked to a lot of people about it, but you get my point. If you've never seen The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, I really, really recommend you go to the scene or find it on YouTube, The Ride of the Rohirrim. There is a speech given by, and the actor who portrays Theoden is the late Bernard Hill. Fabulous actor. and you give him J.R.R. Tolkien dialogue, and he's set. If it doesn't make the hair on your arm stand up and give you goosebumps between the imagery, the music, and the everything else, to me, that is what this event in Butler is like. It is the blowing of the trumpets and looking under the horizon, and you see man after man after man after man after soldier on a horse, and they're ready to charge into battle. That's another good analogy. The Battle of Gideon. That's another good one. And I know the one you're look to. TBA is like, look to the east. In 3 days, I will be there. Gandalf. Yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about. So if you get the chance to see that rally tonight, I recommend you watch it. But before you do, go out to YouTube, type in Ride of the Rohirrim, or Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, or Cavalry Charge, whatever. You're gonna want to watch it. That's a good one. That's another good one. That'd be a close second. That'd be a close second for me. But I know what you're talking about. All right. Let's let you guys get out of here. It is a little after 1 o'clock on Saturday afternoon, and I want to thank you guys so much for being here. We're going to be back Monday night, 7:30 Eastern, for Chatting on the Porch. In the meanwhile, you guys have a great weekend. I love you guys. If you get a chance to watch that rally tonight, I recommend it to you. And in the meanwhile, spend time with your families. Love each other. Pray for each other. Pray for each other's families. I love you guys. You are the best audience on the internet. And we're going to grow this thing into something amazing before it's all said and done. In the meanwhile, you guys have a great weekend. I'll catch you guys Monday night at 7:30, if not sooner. And remember, it's faster horses, younger lovers, older whiskey, and more money. We'll see you later.